Elizabeth, thank you. So for those of you who haven't read it in the newspaper or heard it on the news, I work at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics in Iowa City. So one of my friends from Iowa City at my work came to Davenport this past weekend, and she was so excited to tell me she visited Davenport, and we talked about all the great things. But then she's like, so what's up with that part of town that kind of looks deserted? And after asking some questions, I figured out that she was talking about when you first get into Davenport off 61 on Brady Street. And she wasn't wrong. I mean, that area of town doesn't look as great as some of our other more developed parts of town. And similarly, the central and the western parts of town also are lacking in development. And as someone who has always lived in the first or second ward, and I currently live in the first ward, I can understand why people feel like we're being left behind. And I just talked to somebody who is in college right now and probably won't come back here, and she told me, I feel like the city doesn't care about me because I live on the West End. And that's a problem for me. We shouldn't have only certain people or certain parts of town feeling like the city cares about them. And so, that's my daughter. Gosh, now I'm going to be totally off track, sorry about that. So I would like to see us invest in these other parts of town that have lots of promise for our community. I want to see us investing in affordable housing and renovating abandoned homes because those have a lot of promise for our town and for development. I want us to invest in stores, grocery stores, especially in our food deserts. I want to see us have ample job and recreation opportunities in those areas. And I think the people that I've talked to in those areas, they also want to see that too. They want their part of the city to be given a chance to be a vibrant and growing area, and that's what I'd like to see too. So I would invest in the areas that hold a lot of promise that currently our city has not been investing a whole lot.
Dean Weber. One thing I like to do is get rid of, first thing, get rid of all these abandoned houses. I mean, either the ones that can be fixed up, we need to get them fixed up, but the ones that need to be tore down, we need to get them tore down. We also have a lot of empty lots sitting out in Davenport. Pieces of land where years ago they built houses on them, and it'd be a 3-bedroom house or something with a tiny little yard. Well, now you can't even build a house on it anymore because it's just sitting there and it ain't big enough. Well, I'd like to see some of these pieces of land divided, say, in half, and just give each half to one of the neighbor houses. That way that people could have a bigger yard. Maybe they could add a deck onto their side or something. That way the city wouldn't be taking care of this property or nothing either. You see weeds growing up all over the place. That way you give this land away if you have to. It isn't really worth anything to anybody else. We'll actually make a couple dollars off taxes, and the homeowners there on either side will start taking care of it. Plus they'll have a bigger yard for their kids, swing set, whatever they want to do with it. Now again, I mentioned this before, these dollars, dog parks. I'd like to see these in our neighborhood parks to get people out, get people back into the parks, get neighbors talking to neighbors. They'll turn around and tell you, hey, did you see who just moved in? Or, hey, I got robbed the other night. Keep an eye out here. Well, I mean, they really will. I live in a neighborhood where sometimes we've had things stolen, and it's like, okay, let me go look around the neighborhood and see who just moved in. A little while later, they move out. Hey, a couple years, we're good. Nothing was missing. Seriously, this does happen. And, like you're talking about with the West End, we definitely need to do something down there. That has dried up so much. I used to work at Edwards Bakery. That place was there for 30, 40 years, went out of business. We had Highland Potato Chip Company down there. We had Brock's Candy down there. There was 3 fast food restaurants down there that couldn't keep up. Gotta go.
Our next question tonight. Many cities in Iowa, including, for example, Cedar Rapids, have a mayor and council members who serve 4-year terms. Would you support 4-year terms for Davenport mayor and council members and have them staggered, and why or why not? We begin with Mike Matson.
So yes, I think 4-year terms needs to happen. So I would be in support of that. If the community's in support of that, I'm in support of elections too. So every 2 years, you don't like the people, pick someone else. But I would be in support of 4-year terms. I think we're the only ones in the region that don't have those. and I'm okay with staggered terms too. We've talked about it before, we needed community partners to help us with that, so yes, I'm in support.
And why is that?
It gives continuity. Again, I'm in support of elections, so if you don't like the people, you can vote them out. But if you give them 4-year terms, we have a council and a mayor and a staff that then knows they have more than 2. Instead of thinking about running again, they can work together with other folks, both at the state and local level, to get some better goals and long-term goals and actually see them come to fruition.
I absolutely support 4-year terms. For several years, at least 3 or 4 different times, I sat on corners and tried to convince the citizens of Davenport that 4-year terms would be best for us. I love the idea of staggered terms, and we're going to have a third piece to that, and that's term limits. I think that the combination of all 3 of those would be more palatable. Here's the reason why. You need longer term thinking. 18 months, you're running again, everything kind of stops. Not a good idea for what's best for our community long term. And the final piece here is, you can see what's going to happen this year. We're going to have a new mayor, and there's going to be several of the council positions, board positions that are going to be open. Retraining, spending money, time, and effort to do that while a new group comes in is not a good and wise use of our tax dollars. So let's start thinking long term, and I think it would benefit all of us.